Well, folks, welcome to Wednesday Hump Day edition of End the Simpademic. Jason coming at you here. And I have a question for the MGTOW guys. Now, I know I don't think I have very many of them, if any of them, following me on this channel. But if you happen to know anybody, you can flip them this video and let them know. You know, if you happen to know any. I personally don't know any of them, so I know that they are quite legion out there, and we have a lot of men that participate in this little separatist it's not even that little anymore, a big separatist movement, where men basically remove as much attachment towards women as possible. Now, there are varying degrees of this. There are ones who just simply don't date women, and they simply don't restrict their communications with them as much as possible. Others will not even associate with them in the workplace, for example, where it's usually required. And another more extreme group will withdraw themselves entirely from society in order to avoid what they believe to be a toxic feminist influenced society. And so they will go out of their way to basically separate themselves from society as a whole, under the guise that women are, the feminist movement has completely corrupted society to the extent where they don't feel like they can participate any longer in this. But I'm going to get down to the earlier stages of this and ask a very pointed question. If anybody sees this who knows a MGTOW, or and by the way, MGTOW is an acronym for Men Going Their Own Way, so MGTOW. But MGTOW, if you are a man in the MGTOW movement, I have a pointed question for you, and I've been wanting to know this answer for a long time. And that question is this: if you happen to run into a woman who you find yourself extremely drawn to, and you find yourself attracted to, and if you haven't gone all the way and completely cut yourself off from society, this is a possibility that you will have to face the possibility of occurring. What would you do? That is my question for that group. What would you do if she came along? Now, of course, anybody who's been watching me for long enough knows that you know what I would do, because I believe that in my case, we both would just know. But for a MGTOW guy, they're not thinking along those lines. They're thinking that they want nothing to do with women, and they're going to do everything by themselves. But let's say by chance you happen to run into somebody who just, for whatever reason, you're drawn to. What do you do? If you've sworn off women entirely, but yet you find one that for some reason captures your fancy, what do you do? Please let me know. If you are actual MGTOW, just let me know in the comments, or just forward this video to somebody you know who might be MGTOW. I don't know any personally, which is why I'm asking here. And it's very important for me to know what is in the mind process of these men. I've been wanting to know for a very long time the answer to that question. If anybody can show up in the comments and answer that question, I'm pretty sure I would feature you on a future episode here. But I can't guarantee anything, but I might give you a little trinket or a gift or something. I just haven't decided exactly what that would constitute at this point. I am not impoverished by any means. I live reasonably well, but I'm hardly what anybody would call wealthy. So answer the question and just let me know. If you're a MGTOW, you run into her, what do you do? Do you ignore her entirely and just blow her off? Or do you possibly turn your back on the MGTOW movement and see where it takes you? I'm really interested to know. I'm really dying to know. So, anywho, that is the big question for today. Wednesday's edition of End the Simpademic is just a very pointed question I have out there. I'm looking forward to any answers that come through. I'll be watching the comment section, of course, to see if anybody has a response. But I would truly want to know, and I'm sure there's actually a lot of people out there who would truly want to know the answer to that question. So I hardly believe I'm alone on this one. So, all right, let's throw this out into the wind and see what I catch. So anyway, Jason, then the Simpademic. The big question here for tonight, and I'm gonna leave it out there and hopefully catch something back. Peace out, homies.